Welcome to the Ages of Rock podcast with your hosts, Bill Algie, Dennis Talbot, and Alan Tate. We are three guys who have one thing in common, a love of rock and roll. Our goal is to talk about all things rock. We hope you find this show intriguing, funny, and occasionally highly opinionated. Enjoy!
Welcome to the latest edition of Ages of Rock. We are here today. Bill Algie is in Florida. He is connecting with his phone, so he's going to be a little freaky looking, and we don't know how long he's going to stay on because, whenever Florida gets that dark side of the moon thing, we'll lose his signal at this point.
One of my phones is going to be dead, so one of the two things.
I know, I was just trying to be funny. So anyway. Then we're here with Alan also, and we also have Bill Elam and Jeff Humphrey. And we're going to talk tonight about A2Z Radio, which I really don't know a lot about. But these three
here's the fun part about the whole thing. I'm not a co-host tonight. I'm a guest.
Right. So these three guys, or like I said, Alan, Bill, and Jeff, are going to tell us about A2Z Radio. And before we do that, we'll talk about let's do music news real quick. Anybody got anything? I've got one thing to bring up.
I got one thing to bring up.
Go ahead, Alan. Go for it.
KISS is doing a big countdown on kissonline.com,
Yeah.
and everybody's been talking about that. My two guesses, and one of the guesses is totally bullshit because there's not a clean copy that I know of, but they're going to come out with a clean mix of Hotter Than Hell. And my second guess is that it's just going to be an announcement for when the final show has been rescheduled to.
Now, can I retort with what I heard it's going to be?
Yes.
Go for it, Bill.
Because I had a friend of mine text me the other day that there's been talk that they were going to do a live show on New Year's Eve in Dubai. And it was going to be all online, and they were going to have virtual meet and greets.
I saw that as well.
That would be cool.
I'm going to go with Paul
Bill,
Stanley's
Alan,
going to run
think?
for president because he knows everything about everything.
I see
We'll
you
leave
follow
it.
Paul on Twitter.
We'll leave it at that. Jeff Humphrey, what do you think that the KISS thing is? Any guesses?
I think Gene is going to make a tremendous amount of money in 2021.
Well, it's funny that you say that because my friend Ken posted on Facebook something to the effect of, one thing that you can guarantee is it's something that Gene and Paul are going to make money from because they don't do anything for free.
And in this case, Gene would be paying significantly less taxes because he's moving to Washington.
Moving to Washington.
So my theory is that it is going to be a KISS cash grab. I mean, whatever it is going to be something. I mean, and that's what it is. Period. I'm hoping we have talked to somebody that's in the not inner circle, but somebody in the know that's told us that there's going to be a bunch of reissues happening over the next, few months. I'm hoping for a Live 2 splatter. That's the one album that I need a really nice copy of. So I'm hoping for that. It could be a live stream. Who knows? Either way it goes, Gene's going to have his bank account's going to go up, no matter what.
Well, now you can't just say Gene because
Gene and Paul
likes money just as much as Gene does.
Gene and Paul. Yeah, that's true too. The other thing I wanted to bring up too was this week. God damn it! I'm not an emotional person. And I kind of got really emotional.
You have cried on this show.
I know when
anybody else.
when Eddie passed away, and then God damn it, here comes Wolfgang with this other song that he has to throw out there. And it was funny because I saw during the day people were talking about it, and it was posted, and I saw that there were some pictures of him when he was a kid, and so I didn't get a chance to really listen to the song. So on the way home, I thought, well, I'm gonna throw it up on my phone just to listen to it through my because I drove my truck that day, so I could listen to it through the stereo. But I could not see the video as it's going. And dude, I did pretty good to that last bit, and then when Eddie come on there, that little phone call, I was like going, I'm driving down 69 again, going, oh. I mean, it's like, Jesus. Can we?
Yeah, I was telling Laura about that voicemail thing, and just trying to tell her, I got all choked up and I
It's
was going to
tough.
swallow my tongue. It was really difficult. Can you imagine how difficult it was for him to put that together?
Oh my gosh. And the song itself, I think I'm not even going to comment on what I think about the song. I mean, it's a good song.
Don't comment.
No, it is a good song. Is it fantastic? No, but it's got so much memory to it and so much a feeling to it. It is a good song. So don't get me wrong. I think it was put together, and like I said, he did everything on it, just like his dad does. A lot of his stuff. And but yeah, what another emotional little thing in 2020 for us to choke on.
Yeah, I hadn't seen it yet. I watched it this morning, so
Right.
I watched it, and then I sent the link to Lisa for her to watch it, and she kind of had the same reaction as everybody else has had. So come out with a little red nose, and
yeah,
so it's pretty emotional. I also watched the interview, part of the Howard Stern interview, where he was talking about the reunion.
I've seen some
that was supposed to take place. So that was pretty cool. It sounds like they were a little closer than what people really thought, at least to kind of try to get it off the ground, but it kind of got hosed there a little bit. So, but it's hopefully there'll be some stuff coming, and maybe there'll be some type of thing. And I don't know whether I want there to be a thing, or if I just want them to let it go and move on and do something new.
Only thing I would like to see is if Alex and Wolfgang go through some of his tapes and maybe work on with some of that, just them two doing something just to kind of get some of that, if there's some ideas out there. But yeah, as far as I don't think that he even said that he didn't think that Van Halen should or even could go out. My thing taken away from the little pieces that I've seen of the Howard Stern interview was the fact that I didn't realize how bad a shape that Eddie was. Not only was we always talked about his throat cancer, his tongue cancer, whatever, and now Wolfgang's come out and said, my dad had stage 4 lung cancer and was given.
Yeah, he said that before.
But he said he was given 6 months to live, and those trips to Germany were to work on that, and of course it gave him another 4 years, which is incredible. And of course then it traveled, and he had a brain tumor, and it's just he had medical. It was just a roller coaster at that point. But didn't realize how bad off he was, and it's like I said, anyway. So that's that. Any other music news, guys?
One thing I did hear, still connected to the Van Halen thing,
right,
was that I guess Wolf came out today and said that there may be something coming from the vault, but it's not going to be anytime soon. He said this is just not the time to start digging through the vaults, because if you think about it, the way they did with Prince, they almost had new vinyl on the shelves before the corpse was cold. They threw out stuff very fast, and I respect Wolf for wanting to go ahead and just let him finish the get adjusted to the grieving process and to living without his dad, because anybody who's lost a parent knows that's hard enough as it is. But we've got plenty of time for new Van Halen, for unearthed Van Halen stuff.
Well, and
he needs to take care of himself.
And I think that if Wolf puts anything out, he's going to put out this unpolished bullshit and just demos and stuff. It's going to be well represented. And that's the same way with Hendrix. You get all these records after he passed away. These little any recording they did, they threw it on a vinyl and did whatever. And but I think Wolfgang's going to do the right thing. And if we do get anything out of the Van Halen camp as far as Eddie Van Halen stuff past his death, it's going to be very well done, and it's going to be something that he would be proud of. That's my guess.
Hope so.
All right. So real quick before we get into it, Bill, Algie, you were in Florida. You said you got some albums.
I did.
You want to throw them out there?
Yep, I can.
Right.
So I scoured Walmart's. I was here during the Walmart $15 craze. So I'm going to share all of them, but some of them have to be held back because Lisa said, let's make a deal. I'll buy a couple of them for Christmas, but you can't have them now. So I'm like, okay, but I have them in my possession. So there.
$15 a piece. You should buy as many as you can.
Yeah. So and there's a couple things. So one thing I bought that I don't have yet and won't get till January. Amazon did this, and I forget who sent this to me. Somebody sent it to me just the other day. That there was a Garth Brooks box set on sale for $20, and it was 7 albums and 7 CDs. It's a legacy set, and it was it was on sale for $20. So I picked that up. It says it won't ship until January, but I don't really care because it's
$20.
It was $20. It was $153.
I put that in our text thread. Where
was it you that put it in there, Bill?
Yeah,
I thought it was, and I jumped on it.
And of all the people I got that from Joey Haney. It was either Joey Haney or Loose Cannon. They had put it in the I'm Vinyl thread, and I was like, well, I know that Algie will be in it for this. I don't know how Dennis would think of it, so I threw it in that text thread, and I got it too. And mine is, if it's the latest day, it'll be the day before my 51st birthday.
You know, the weird thing is,
when's your birthday?
January 16th.
Mine's the 10th.
Hey, Capricorn's rule.
Yeah, actually, that's my son's. The 16th is my son's birthday.
So my whole thing is, it would cost $20 to ship that.
Yeah, I know.
I should have just bought it just to buy it. I didn't.
So,
I saw it, but just didn't pay attention. Sorry.
See, I saw a set at Best Buy about. It would have been about 6 months ago. It was right after the pandemic started. That they had like a 5 or 6 Garth Brooks box set. And it was like $59. And it's like, well, really, that's $10 a record. So that's not bad. And then they dropped 14 albums total on you for $20. Yeah, I'm all over that.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, even if you like half the songs or a quarter of the songs, you're ahead. So thanks, Bill, for posting that. I appreciate it, man.
No problem.
All right, so I picked up. I'm just going to rattle these off instead of showing them because I don't know that I can actually show them. AC/DC Highway to Hell, Creed's Greatest Hits, which has the etched side D, which I know some people like Creed, some people don't. I like them. So I've been looking for that, and actually this is really hard to find. So if you can find it, good luck to you.
Now I saw thumbs down and stuff like that. I'm going to give you a little credit, Bill, because Creed was awesome when they would rock hard.
Yeah, I agree.
Was when it was the mellow stuff. That's the stuff I wasn't into. But like they had like Are You Ready? That was a killer one.
Yep.
And To Whom It May Concern, those were some really cool heavy tunes that they did.
Yeah, they had some really. What If is a good song too. That's a pretty good rocker too. So I like them, but that's fine. I don't care about the thumbs down. Suck it. I get Bob Seger's Greatest Hits. It's on 2 LPs on clear vinyl. I got Metallica Ride Lightning. I got CCR featuring John Fogerty Chronicle, the 20 Greatest Hits. It is on red, white, and blue swirl vinyl, and it looks. If the vinyl looks like the picture, that is cool as hell.
Cool.
I got Bon Jovi Crossroads Best Of, which is on red vinyl, and then those are the ones that I purchased from Walmart. So that should be 6. I went to a local record shop. Always try to hit local record shops when I'm in, visiting towns or whatever. So I went to this one guy, had a really kind of cool shop, but he liked to talk a lot. Anyway, I picked up Great White Stage, which I'll try to show you this. I'm a big Great White fan. So this is actually a limited edition white vinyl. And it's basically just 2 live recordings, one from the House of Blues in Los Angeles in 1994 and another one from Anaheim, California in 1993. So, and this is just filled with the, hit stuff that are live. The other thing I got, and I've been looking for and haven't found, is Foreigner's Greatest Hits. But it's the actual jukebox looking greatest hits package. And it has the actual pull out and stuff like that. So, and I do have it on CD as well, but I've been looking for it on album. So I finally found it, and I had the guy give me he gave me like $6 off because I bought 2 of them. So,
cool.
That helped me out a little bit. So that wasn't too bad.
Cool.
So that was my, my purchases. I saw, probably 6 Love Gun records, 4 or 5 Destroyer records. I have those once or twice, and there was no need for me to buy them and try to sell them for $3,000.
Right.
Or whatever.
All right. So, Alan, I know you don't have any albums. Bill, did you get anything this week, or you just want to?
Yeah, actually, I got a big fat stack of them. And speaking of Love Gun,
All right.
this came on the porch today.
There you go.
Courtesy of, I think you'll agree, one of the coolest people on the planet, Brian Harris. Sent me.
There you go. I got one.
Nice
I got
guy.
one from
Brian
him also.
rules.
Yep.
Love you, brother. He's awesome.
Yep.
And yeah, and still sealed. I'm like, oh my God, this is awesome. So then I got a courtesy of the Podfessor, Steve Wright. I got
Ooh, Night Ranger.
Whoa,
Oh,
there
cool.
I go. Midnight Madness by Night Ranger.
All right.
Pretty awesome one. And
Is that new? Is that
that's
that
a
you,
used
Bill?
copy. It's an original.
Okay.
It's an early press.
OG? Okay.
So
gotcha.
and I cleaned it up. It sounds pretty decent. The worst thing is when you drop the needle and you hear that first run-in groove,
Yeah.
and it sounds like, you know, a popcorn popper.
Yep.
But I use the groove washer, and it really does clean out that original run-in grooves. I'd take a microfiber cloth and just lay it into that thing, and it usually does a pretty good job. I didn't mean to have this one here in the stack. But my Walmart purchases, I picked up Ziggy Stardust by David Bowie.
Cool.
$15. And this is hard to find under $20. So I was all over it. And when I couldn't find any Love Guns when I was shopping, that's why Brian ended up sending me the one. I got Rubber Soul by the Beatles, which turns out I only saved like $2 on. It's marked 22, but you can get it $17 online. And then one of the friends of the show, My Hair of the Dog, came Monday afternoon. Still haven't cracked it open yet.
Oh,
Alan's like, how does it sound? I says, I can't play it. Everybody's here. Because Tuesday is like, I call it long overdue's day. So when I get all my records in, it's taking me a week to get around to playing them. Well, the wife goes to quilting, the kid goes to karate, and I get up in the afternoon and everybody is still here.
Oh.
So it's kind of like, I haven't spun a record in a week. The last one I did.
Are you doing
was that
okay?
Night
Are you doing
Ranger.
okay? Do you need to call some friends? You doing all right?
Yeah. We'll see. I have a weekend off, so we're gonna there's gonna be some records spinning whether there's somebody here or not. So
All right.
I actually had it. This is the weirdest one. Is I joined the Third
Columbia
Man
House.
Records vault.
Columbia Record Club.
No, it's a club. It's a
BMG?
club, all right. This is a quarterly thing from Third Man Records. Okay, get it to where I don't disappear
All right.
for it. All right, there we go. The 3 men there, and they drop a special record out every 3 months, and I had picked up this Johnny Cash, A Night to Remember.
Oh.
And the crazy thing is this shipped like the last week of September. And so by the middle of October, I emailed them and I said, hey, if my record shipped in September, it's lost because I didn't get it. So they sent me another one out and I got it within like 3 days. This one showed up Monday.
I've had that
So
happen
I've
before.
got 2 of them now.
That's funny.
And I asked my daughter, I said, she bought me a Beach Boys record for Father's Day, I think it was. And it got shipped to New Jersey and got hung up in the mail in New Jersey. Well, the people that sold it to her refunded her money. And I told her, I said, you know, if you let them know that you did eventually get the record, they probably appreciate your honesty. So I asked her I tell her about the Johnny Cash. And I said, the question is what to do. And she replied to me, she goes, I'm sure Jack White would appreciate your honesty, Dad. So I'll probably be sending them an email. I doubt if they'll want it back because number one, they can't sell it as new product again as I've opened it. And they'll probably just tell me to keep it, which is what E1 told me to do with my Ace Frehley.
Right.
So when I got that replaced, it was a keeper.
Can you start ordering records for the rest of us? You seem to be getting better deals.
Yeah, but the reason I got that Ace Frehley though is because it had a chunk of plastic on it that wouldn't come off.
Yeah.
So
that's
2020 has been the year of getting a bunch of shitty fucking albums sent to you. I mean, not shitty albums sent to you, but the shipping has been horrible.
Shitty condition.
Do you remember the multicolor Destroyer, the first one that they dropped, the black and white one splatter? I got it, and it was broken inside the jacket.
Wow.
There was no damage to the jacket at all, no damage to the inner sleeve, but the record had a crack from the center ring all the way out to the runout groove.
That's crazy.
So they ended up, Sound of Vinyl sent me another one of those. So I've got a spare one of those that I'm going to probably make a trophy or something out of. I don't know.
Wow, that's interesting.
But yeah, I didn't notice it until I got to the end of Do You Love Me, and it sounded like somebody was smacking against an amplifier. It's like thunk, thunk, thunk at the end of it.
Yeah.
But so I don't have the greatest.
Because they were doing some loving.
There you go.
They were doing
Jeff,
something,
do you have
that's
any,
for sure.
Jeff, do you have any albums at all? Are you a collector? You're not a collector?
No, the one thing that I did in the summer, just kind of on a whim, was I bought a bunch of old 45s. I'd buy lots of 45s off of eBay, and you'd get like maybe 4 or 5 usable ones, and then like 10 Square Dance records with it. But,
there you go.
But for $4, I'll take the chance. The one like real purchase I made is I'm a big Jay Giles band fan, and somebody had a lot of, it was like 7 Jay Giles singles and 4 Peter Wolf singles for $9. So I jumped all over that.
Cool. All right.
I'll have 2 more too, Dennis. They're at home.
You got some Gooba Gooba with the green teeth.
That's fine.
I'll hold them to next week.
All right. So anyway, I did the same thing. Like I said, it was like almost on, it was like 7:30, 8 o'clock that night when I heard that I finally, everybody is showing their love guns. I'm like going, God damn it. I got a Walmart that's only a mile away from my house. So I'm like, fuck it. I got to go over there and get, so I told Kelly, I was like, shit, it was cold outside. I still have my shorts on. I'm like, I'm just going to go sandals and everything. So I went over there, and of course they don't have a stand at our Walmart. There's no like little stand up cardboardy, here's our sale things. It's just in the records. So I'm back here looking, and I don't see, of course I find a Destroyer right off the bat, the thing I looked for a long time ago. I don't need a Destroyer. So I'm looking, and so I asked the girl, and she goes, I don't know. She says there's some electronic stuff up behind the pharmacy. So I went up there, and I'm doing this, and then I go around all the way to the front, and I see another bin. It looks like people around it. Ends up there are a bunch of DVDs right at the very beginning. So I walked the whole store, and I'm like, oh, hell with it. I'm just going to go back and see what, double check my stuff. So when I went back there, the girl goes, there was a lady about my age, and she had a younger daughter, and she goes, you were the guy back here earlier, right? And I said, yeah. And she goes, I pulled like 3 of these up there, and she scanned them, and they're all $15. And I'm like, are you serious? She goes, yeah, everything's $15. And I went, thank you, ma'am. I sure appreciate that. I said, I don't care if I don't get a love gun tonight. So I went through, and I got little Sgt. Pepper, Lonely Hearts Club Band. I've been wanting this for a while. It's $23. Got it for $15. I'm not a big REM fan, but my wife is, and I figured it's a double album. This is $28, $15. You can't go wrong with that. So, and then of course, okay. So at that point, I went around, and there was another little stand that had the AC/DC with the new live, the DVD or the CD, and the album. And the album, of course, says 35. 97 on it. And I go, can you ring this up to see if it rings up $15? And she says, sure. And she says, it says 15. I said, put it in a bag now. I'm like, I'm running out of the store like I stole a son of a bitch. I was like, yes, I did. I'm like going, yep. So anyway, that was my Walmart finds. And then of course I put out for, knew that David had bought albums before. Not David, but Brian had bought albums before. I did it again, didn't I? And anyway, so Brian, I texted him at night. I said, "Man, I didn't catch one." I said, "I'm hoping you caught one." And he goes, "I got two, I bought three, and I got one extra." He goes, "I guess Bill, you got the other one." And so anyway, he brought it over, and I paid him for it, and I paid him a little extra because I was like, "Going, it's worth it." But of course, it was unsealed. But we opened it up, and splatter's pretty nice on it. And I didn't have a good copy of Love Gun. And the reason I bought a rebuy of this is because I don't have a good copy. Last but not least, best album I bought all year. I'm telling you what, this album rocks fucking balls. I mean, just absolutely and the thing is, I knew nothing about, Ryan Spencer Cook put this album out with his boys back in the 80s. It's, Hair of the Dog. And the thing was, I just found it on Spotify. I've been trying to find it, and I keep putting Hair of the Dog, and it's H period, O period, T period, D period, and then you can find it. So anyway, so now I don't have to listen. I can listen to it in my truck. But anyway, this album, absolutely, this is the most underrated, unfound band from the 80s. I love this thing a lot. And Ryan, you guys did a good job.
Yeah, that's one of the ones that I had that's sitting at home waiting for me to arrive.
Right. But you've listened to it before. I mean, you went to iTunes.
Yeah, I've been listening to it because
what do you think?
Because I use iTunes, and I just typed in Hair of the Dog, and it popped right up.
Right. But badass, right?
Yeah. That's why I bought it. I wasn't gonna.
See, I haven't heard a note of it.
Oh, it's really good.
Yeah, I don't even
stuff.
remember the band from the 80s.
I don't either.
I think they were low. I don't think they were. I'm not sure how much airplay they really got, but
I believe the term you're looking for is regional, Bill.
Yes,
regional,
there you go.
Right, they were California band, but that first album, I was like, holy shit, I'm gonna like.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
And
Aaron Camaro always said that they were really hot in Wisconsin.
Really?
So he said that they had a really good following in the Midwest, and it's like, well, it must be the Midwest that starts at the Indiana border because it's not. We didn't hear nothing of them in Ohio.
Yeah, we didn't hear it. Well, like I said,
that's on the west, on the west side of the Illinois border.
Exactly.
Yeah, apparently so.
So that's the last of my album acquisitions for the week. So
now,
anyway,
the one thing about the Walmart buys is the one I regret not getting that was regular stock was that Beatles one with like 40 number one hits on it. It was a $39 album.
I didn't see that one.
Did they have that?
Well, my store does, and it's a $39 album, and I could have got it for $15.
Yeah, you should have bought that, man.
I almost did Rubber Soul. I could have walked out there that night with $200 worth. I'm serious.
Easily, yeah.
I mean, they had Journey's Greatest Hits, that 2 record. I had that one in my hand. I put it back because I'm like going, I got all the other records. I don't nearly need it. They had Rubber Soul. They had something else. They had 2 Beatles that I liked. Jimi Hendrix Smash Hits, which I have an old copy of, but I like to have a new copy of it. There was just so many. I said I could have spent $200.
Now, the one I had in my hand that I put back that I'm going to regret one day is I had Number of the Beast by Iron Maiden.
Ooh,
yeah, I saw that one. I saw that one too. Yeah, I saw that one too.
$15, and I didn't buy it because I flipped it over and the shrink wrap was torn on it, and it's just like that's a sign. I'm taking that as a sign that I don't need to get this today, and so I'll probably
just rebought that one off Amazon.
For that one.
It was 20 something, so I would have took it in a heartbeat. So
yeah.
So anyway, we're on here tonight to talk about A2Z Radio, and it's A, letter A, the number 2, and then the letter C. There you go. So tell me,
Z for our Canadian friends.
Yeah. So it's like I got A. So anyway, how did this radio station come about? Let me know how this worked.
Well, originally the radio station was my idea, and I had launched it once before on a platform out of France or Belgium, one of those European countries, called Radionomy. And after after I spent like 9 months building this station and getting it all worked out, the European licensing companies and the American licensing companies couldn't come up with an agreement, so they shit canned all the American broadcasts. So that kind of left me deflated for, I guess it was about a year maybe, and I'd been doing a radio show on Metal World Radio, and Bill had been listening to the show and was interested in doing broadcasting, but you know, the station that the Metal World Radio, obviously the name of the station tells you it's a rock station. And I got to talking to Bill about it, and I had already been talking to Jeff, and that I had this station idea once before. And I asked them, you guys want to start a station? So we did, you know. And the idea behind the station itself is, our slogan is the internet's biggest variety of rock, pop, and country music. Because once upon a time in the Evansville radio market, there was a station called Jack FM. And I know in other markets it was called Bob FM. But I like the idea of that. I wanted to do something like that. But instead of it being like Jack FM, since it's me, it's more like Jack MF. You know, so I have a huge eclectic music collection, you know, my music, my wife's music, stuff like that. And I know Jeff and Bill both have eclectic music collections. So between the three of us, you know, we have a wide variety of music.
So what was your common interest of the three of you in your different musics and one a radio station that got you to do this partnership then, what you're saying?
Yeah, it was that. And then where, you know, I'd been on before, where me and my daughter were working on building a podcast, and I was building it with my daughter because I really couldn't find anybody to podcast with me, and I didn't want to do a audio blog, you know, to where I was just going on and reading something off, you know, verbatim or anything like that. I wanted to have discussions and everything like that, but we wanted to play music. And right as we were getting that started, that's when the great Spotify purge, that everybody that was playing music got wiped off of Spotify, like Decibel Geek and Podcast and all of those other guys. So we kind of just put everything on hold because we were trying to figure out how we go about doing it. You know, we were actually talking about paying mechanical licensing to do it, which would have been a ridiculously cost inhibitive thing to do. But then the idea of the radio station came up, and I was in on it, and I went ahead and asked Britt, my daughter. I said, because she's well-versed in what I know, and then she's also really well-versed on current music. So where you think about these three old guys, you know, if they're, you know, it's like, oh, well, how much pop music are they going to play? You know, we play Pink, we play Taylor Swift, we play Lizzo, you know. In addition to
playing WAP, though.
We're not playing WAP. That was actually a mutual agreement between all of us. But we're playing, you know, we do have a wide variety. We've had music anywhere from the late 30s all the way up till last week. Actually, yesterday. You know, we just dropped a song today, was the new Suspect 208 album, a song that came out 2 or 3 days ago. So we keep the variety wide, and we don't have too much problem with it being a personal problem. You know, there's one song that my daughter put up that I can't stand, but if somebody else wants to listen to it, I'll suffer through it for 3 minutes.
So what is there are there multiple DJs on the channel, or is it just the three of you guys? Or talk a little bit more about how does that work, and how does programming work?
Take this one, Jeff.
I think so far right now, the programming has been the three of us. There's an auto DJ function on the station that we have to load the music up, so we get to pick and choose what will be played. But we're getting ready to do more live, where we're actually doing the broadcast on our own from our respective studios, and we'll be looking to recruit DJs. It really, because I like the fact that the three of us have this great bass, but I'm a little bit older than them. So like I kind of was just a little bit too old for the hair metal. So I was more like the tail end of like Styx and Survivor in Asia. But they can kind of fill in that gap. But we have this great base of like other classic rock, and I'm excited to try and find some people that can kind of fill in some of the other gaps that are out there in different genres. Like the other thing that I miss is like the 90s are a blur to me, because I just didn't like part of it was because the first type of music I was hearing was like Crash Test Dummies and Four Non Blondes, and it was like, okay, I'm going back to Kiss. I'm just going to start listening to all the stuff I used to like. And but there's a lot of good stuff that came out in that era, and I'm hoping that we can find somebody that kind of patch in and maybe do a show where they kind of go through that genre, the genres of that era, so that we can kind of complete that A to Z concept.
Cool.
And we do make it a family
affair.
Won't
be me.
Okay, good.
Now, Bill, I can easily train you.
And we make this a family affair because our kids are influencing us. Like I mentioned, my daughter Britt and Jeff's daughter, Fiona, they actually do promos for us, and they help us with song selection. And we'll hear me and Jeff will go back and forth, and I'll say, "That's a pretty wild current song." I'll say, and I'll text Britt and I'll say, "Did you post that up?" And she goes, "Nope." So it came from Jeff's side of the border.
Yeah, my daughter gave me a list.
Yeah, and they've been extremely helpful. And Mrs. Big Al, she's helped out with some stuff. So we're actually, we're making it a very family. It may not necessarily be family friendly, but so far it's a family affair. So probably any DJs we're going to have to find, they're going to have to want to kind of join the family, and not just be like some rogue DJ or something like that. But
so let me ask a question.
Yeah, my comment was really more about not being me for the 90s part. The 90s music part that Jeff was talking about, because that's my gap too.
Yeah, I was just kind of embellishing on what Jeff said. So.
Yeah, I was just trying to, in the 90s. Yeah, I just kind of went away, and I went to a whole, basically stuck with the metal bands that I still
Bill
like.
went country.
But I went country. So
I did too.
And the funny thing is, I listened to, on the way to Florida, I drove a U-Haul. So from the south side of Atlanta till when we got to close to Sarasota, I have a 90s country playlist, and I was in the truck by myself, and we had a great concert. We'll just leave it at that.
Awesome.
So let me ask you a question, because like I said, I'm not really familiar. I should be listening to your radio station, and I will be listening to your radio station at some point. But
yes,
let me understand this. So I know that you have shows, you have specific shows at certain times, through the week and what have you, and different shows. But you're running music 24 hours a day, right?
That's correct.
Okay, so what you're saying is, whenever you do this, the 24 hours, when there's not a specific show running, you're running songs that are not necessarily just, Alan, you're not doing all of one day or what have you. You're putting in.
We can do it like that. Like occasionally I will connect 2-hour encoders, and I will just play a random block of 8 hours of music or whatever. But we uploaded, 5 or 6 gigabyte worth of music to the live 365,
Right.
and Jeff, being the it's a big word here that I'm missing out, but Jeff was driven enough that he went in and figured out how to program those clock wheels so that they play. You'll hear a country song, you'll hear a rock song, you'll hear a pop song. It doesn't play the same. You're not getting corporate radio where every hour you hear Leonard Skinner, or every hour you hear REO Speedwagon, or every hour you hear Katy Perry. He's got the clock wheel programmed pretty well to where every hour you hear a bunch of new shit and a bunch of old shit.
So, but what I'm saying is, so the shows that you do that are your own like live show, or where you say live shows, but where you do your own DJing for those hour or what have you, you also program all the songs for the entire time.
Oh yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
in that case, like
That's
for
what I mean.
example,
Right.
starting this Sunday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, I'm going to start doing Big Al's Flashback Countdown, and that's basically Sunday is November the 20 whatever, and what I'll do is I'll pick the week of November 20 whatever and pick a random year from back then and count down from number 30 to number 1 to whatever was popular that week.
Okay. 'Cause like I said, I'm not familiar with how these things work, and I know there's other people that listen to our show.
Come over to the house sometime and I'll show you.
I know. I'll probably end up being a DJ at some point.
All the way over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, all 7 miles.
Yeah, it's all 7 miles. So anyway, do you closely monitor how the station is performing in a quality control sense? Are you doing things like that too?
Bill and Jeff do.
And we do it very closely too. That's the thing is, there was a day that we were running kind of low on listeners, and I was like, well, at least we've got 2 listeners. And I looked down at my phone and realized it was playing on my phone, and I looked up the computer and realized I was playing on computer, and I was the two listeners that I was monitoring. But yeah, I mean, that's the thing is we check the songs for quality control. We had one today that the volume was a little too low in comparison to everything else. And we ended up replacing that song with a cleaner copy of it that played a little bit better. And but we do stay on it a lot, and we actually have some systems set in place to where it's not just me going rogue going, oh, I hate that song, I want to get rid of it. We have a communication point where we check in and say, we need to do something about this song, and then the other 2 check in. And actually Britt does too, because she's part of the programming team too. And we keep track of, and that's like, if the auto DJ, it has the possibility of playing a song a few too many times in a day. So if I say, hey, I've heard this song 3 times in 6 hours, we'll put it on ice for 30 days and let something else that's in the auto DJ come up and take its place.
That's cool. No, like I said, I didn't really know how that worked, and if you could, so you can actually see how many people are listening to you at any point of time, as you're going along.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
It'll even go so far as to show you where they are. So
That's cool.
It'll tell you like, oh, someone in Ohio. We had a couple bites.
Some guy in Ohio is listening on 3 devices.
Apparently I'm in Mount Gilead or whatever that is, because that's what my phone keeps pulling it up as.
So where do you, if you had some like people from out of the country that are listening to it also?
Well, the way the licensing works with Live 365, as it stands right now, only the United States and the United Kingdom can listen.
Gotcha.
Now, as time progresses on and the licensing companies work out their arrangements, people in Australia will be able to tune in, or people in France or Japan or just wherever.
Sure. So is there any type of, any particular era or type of music that you're interested in, and plan to put in the mix? Or like I said, is it going to be like everything is good?
My opinion on this is everything is good, because that somebody likes that song. Somebody's not going to like that song, but there's going to be just as many people that do like it.
I agree.
Jeff seems to be.
Yeah, no, I agree with that as well. And the good thing is we have that base, but as far as me, I grew up listening to funk, soul, rap even, just because that was played a lot in my neighborhood. And I may slide some of that in occasionally, more of the funk and the soul, just because it's something I've listened to for my whole life. And but it's not something I'm going to make a whole show out of, because I think the base is going to be rock, and we'll get into pop and we'll get into country. My country is more old school. Like my dad would listen to Willie Nelson and Johnny Cash, and that's more kind of like my wheelhouse, and Jerry Reed. And I know some of the newer. Yeah, and I know some of the some of the newer acts, and Garth Brooks, and some of the major names, but it's kind of cool to kind of discover some of these new to me like acts, and to just kind of appreciate what they do.
Now, something else to consider is as DJs come on staff, and when we say DJs come on staff, we have volunteer DJs. We are volunteer owners. We're going to have people volunteer to write for the website because, much like podcasting, there ain't no money to be made in internet radio. But having said that, if you come on as the DJ, you get to program your own show. We have worked out a set of rules that we think that most DJs will agree are fair rules, because basically, as long as you're not playing music that promotes hate, we don't give a shit what you play.
I was going to ask you what the rules were.
Don't play WAP and don't play hate music.
Okay, so you're looking for other DJs. So if I wanted to be a DJ, I've got my hand up. So what is involved in being a DJ? What do I have to do?
You go to A2ZRadio.net and click on that join our staff, and there's a drop down for the DJ, and you'll answer those questions, and then an email will come to all three of us, and then we will get back in touch with you to tell you what the next step is.
Or they will delete it.
Or they're just like, oh, Dennis is on here. We just
auto delete.
Ignore it. We're gonna ignore it. He'll be playing New England. I'll do my New England show.
Well, see, now there are rules that go along with that, and of course, you guys, we did that show for Ages of Rock for a
that was fun.
Months.
That was fun, actually.
So you guys already have a pretty good idea of what the rules are for broadcasting music.
Yeah.
So there's that.
That was actually fun. I like doing that. It was like being an announcer, being Casey Kasem for a day,
And it also bleeds in with like being a podcaster, because technically, I'm a fan of BJ Cramp's Rock and or Roll. BJ or somebody like that, they could do a show like that on A2Z Radio. They would just have to have their spoken parts broken down, and they'd have to have each song designated to where Live 365 can pay the appropriate royalties to the license holders of the songs. So you can actually do a podcast on the show, which typically the good ones are, where they talk about the artist and then they play a song. Right. They're not just.
We're not one of the good. We're not one of the good ones because we don't do that. But.
Well, you guys were doing that at the one time too. I recall that. So.
That lasted one episode.
Yeah,
one episode, and
I thought you guys did a couple of those.
No, we got nailed.
We did radio. We did.
I meant the radio.
Oh, the radio. Yeah, no, the radio was.
We did that for a couple of months, and that was an awful lot of work.
And it is an awful lot of work. That's the thing about it is, people talk about podcast prep being a lot of work. Well, I'm here to tell you that I went from being laid off and sitting on my thumbs for 2 months to totally working my butt off to help try to keep things going and keep myself sane at the same time.
Wow.
But I enjoy every minute of it.
He's lying. I did all the work. No.
We've been doing a podcast for 5 years. I haven't worked hard at all. It's been fun.
but this is my passion, passion thing. And, I've actually eased up on some of my other hobbies like off-roading and stuff like that, because music's always been there for me. So
he
and
finally
this is
got
definitely a passion product for me. Yeah.
He's a good bass player too.
Thank you.
Cool. Hey, Bill, I've heard you've got some kind of beef with Lou Gramm. What's this about?
That motherfucker.
Wow.
No, really. Actually, I was going to do my Joey Casada and go, that son of a bitch. But no, actually, I really don't have this is how the Lou Gramm thing got started, okay? Prior to us getting A2Z off the ground, like Al said, I was listening to his show on Metal World Radio. And he played. He did an episode with Colors. Well, he played Midnight Blue, and oddly enough, one of the first songs to get uploaded when we started the auto DJ was Midnight Blue. So we had about 60 to 70 songs in the auto DJ, and it would play Midnight Blue about every 4.5 hours. And I got to the point where I was just like, okay, Lou's got to take a break. And this is actually before we set up our system. We actually have it, it's a do not play system to where we just take everything out of the mix for a little while. And yeah, I said, okay, man, it's like, I can't do Midnight Blue every 4 hours, especially like I listen a lot at work. I just got to the point where I can't. So these two guys, they determined this is my hatred for Lou Gramm. But I'm here to tell you, I'm going to state it on the Ages of Rock podcast that Lou Gramm is my favorite member of Foreigner. And Lou Gramm is the guy who wanted to rock, and Mick Jones is the one that wanted to do all the soft stuff and the ballads. And that's one of the things that made them split up in the 80s. So go Lou Gramm.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm glad we got that.
Son of a bitch.
Now we can son of a bitch. Now we can get Lou. Now we can see about getting Lou on the show.
I love Lou Gramm.
I'm waiting for Lou
awesome.
to get on Cameo, and I want to get him to record a promo for us.
That would be awesome.
It's like, if you're listening, if you're hearing my voice, you must be listening to A2Z Radio.
There you go. That'd be cool.
There you go.
And we actually made, we've got a couple jokes that we bounce around about it. And, these guys will drop the Lou Gramm thing on me. And I made up one. It was a meme, and it was from The Matrix, where it had the hands out with 2 pills in it, and one was red and one was blue. And I said either cherry red or midnight blue.
Midnight Blue.
That was so funny, man.
Yep.
That is funny.
Yeah.
But
So
no, I
we
love
pulled,
Lou, and he's probably one of the most talented vocalists ever to exist. Especially those first 5 Foreigner albums, amazing.
Oh yeah.
Now when we
Unbelievable.
pull a song out of the mix, it's now we just say Lou Gramm it. So it's become a term.
Wow.
But we love you, Lou.
But we do love Lou.
All right. Well,
Cool.
you know what? It was an interesting discussion tonight. Listen to you guys, A to Z Radio. You should be proud of yourselves. Hopefully, I can maybe do some DJing on there.
Well, you have to start listening.
Well, I'll have to listen first. Do I really have to? Is Midnight Blue still on the rotation?
It's going to be back soon. That's going to be my Christmas present to the world. I'm going to upload Midnight Blue.
I wouldn't have to listen to that. But no, I will seriously start listening, like everybody should be listening.
What we're going to do is we're going to make a 12-inch extended mix of Midnight Blue. It's a dance mix.
That'll be, and Dennis will buy it because he has to.
You should make a 13,
regardless of whether it's garbage or.
That's what she said.
No, you just wish. You just wish.
13-inch.
That's why you're sticking with 45s. Okay, yeah.
33s and a third.
Where can you listen to can you listen to the station at? Do you have?
Yeah.
So talk about that. How do you get to it?
I'm completely stupid. I don't know how to do this.
Well, we already knew that.
I know.
But Jeff will tell you.
So you can go to live365.com if you're just on a regular computer. And when it comes up, search for A to Z Radio, and it'll pop up, and click it, and it will allow you to play, or download the Live 365 app, and same thing, search for A to Z Radio.
You can actually skip the radio. If you just do the letter A, the number 2, and Z.
And the Z.
And if you just search those 3 letters, it'll come up with us as the first selection.
It's just that easy.
And we're also at A2ZRadio.net.
So you didn't use the word like Pornhub or anything like that, or like dick or something like that, but it came up.
Well, it's kind of like ZZ Top. Their marketing behind the ZZ is
right. Nothing's
right. Well, there is a ZZ something. There's some girl that goes by ZZ something now.
I said there's something to do with something sexual. It's going to be like
but
ZZ.
they had it locked down for 25 years that they did.
They had it locked down for like 50 years.
That's good. That's good. That's good.
But that's the same thing with A to Z, you know. And the reason that I picked A to Z
know.
was because I play everything from ABBA to ZZ Top, you know,
There you go.
whatever.
All right.
Of course, I should have said
It's a great
everybody
idea,
else
and like I said, I
60
can't
days.
wait to start listening. I hope everybody else starts listening, and I'm glad you guys explained everything tonight. Like I said, I'm looking forward to maybe putting in my application, see if I can make it as a DJ. Ta-da!
Well, thanks for having us on. We really appreciate the effort.
Yeah, thanks for having us on.
Yeah,
Dennis.
thanks.
Hey, so as a
And you even
guest,
let us bring Alan with us.
hey Alan, as a guest, I'm gonna let you bring us out. Can you do
All
that?
right, folks. Visit
You know how to do that?
A2ZRock.com after you visited A2ZRadio.net and check out our social media and past episodes. And until next time, peace out.
That's a great job there, Alan.
A to
Thank
Z
you.
Radio is available
Really
on
good.
Facebook too.
Hey, Alan,
right.
you think you can do a bumper for us?
Yes.
I don't do bumpers.
I
don't
don't do
do-
the bumpers.
I don't
Anyway,
do the
peace
bumpers.
out, folks. Thanks for listening to the Ages of Rock podcast. If you haven't done so already, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel, like us on Facebook, and most importantly, tell all your friends. Remember, you're never too old to rock. Until the next episode, peace out, folks.